Game number 1, it's going to be Amnesiac on that even Warlock, Flo on the Big Mage. I think this is a great queue up for Flo. One of the reasons Big Mage got popular is because it's pretty strong in this matchup.
Yeah, and something to really take into account is, we're playing Last Hero Standing here at the DreamHack HCT Grand Prix in Austin, Texas. And Last Hero Standing, very different from Conquest. In Conquest, you'll build lineups that want to focus on the weak points solely of a lot of your opposing lineups. That's been one of the most successful strategies employed in Hearthstone Conquest to date. In Last Hero Standing, it's a back and forth battle of, you get a favorable matchup or you win an unfavorable matchup and you're trying to snowball it, or you're trying to just bounce back and forth where you get the 5th and final favorable matchup. The pick order is pretty paramount, and so yoitsflo getting this matchup, very strong one for him to start off.
Yeah, just a good queue overall. I mean, like I was mentioning earlier, Big Mage was brought just for the reason of, taming these even Warlocks. It has such a great matchup, has so much removal. Voodoo Doll, Polymorph, Meteor, and then if they try and go wide with Gul'dan, the Gul'dan is typically much weaker than the ones of Q blocks, so they can just Dragon's Fury that away. And at the end of the day, he's even got Jaina in his hand already. That card's going to be so important once he lives to turn 9.
Jaina is pretty much the card that wraps this deck up. Without Jaina, this deck basically doesn't exist. It needs some sort of engine to really generate all this power.
Because you can keep clearing the board all you want, but if you have nothing to back it up with, what are you really doing at the end of the day?
Exactly. And so just the big minions don't get the job done. They're vital and they help you, wrap up some of that endgame scenario, but the big one is that the water elementals just keep coming out, and it starts getting brutal after a while. You're like, man, slow down. You're freezing all my stuff in 3 6.
Not only you're freezing stuff, killing stuff, gaining life, and then just repopulate.
Yeah, and so, talking about the Blood Reaver Gul'dan, these games often go pretty late. And Blood Reaver Gul'dan is just about one of the best tools out there if you want to win a late game scenario. But when you look at the way that the matchup's panning out, Amnesiac's playing a much more fair game than, say, Cube Warlock or Control Warlock used to play. So because of that slow operative process with Blood Reaver Gul'dan at the end, it's like you said, it gets mopped up and then he's on just 3 a turn with the hero power. Water elementals can pace that.
Yeah, exactly. Water elementals are just great, especially when you got multiple ones. And there's not too many great ways Amnesiac can answer multiple boards of water elementals without saving onto those Hellfire's Defiles, which, if you're saving onto those that long and you haven't been playing minions, you're kind of in trouble. But you see Flo recognizing that this is the giant turn. He can just stall with this Doomsayer, only take the 2 damage, not even have to use the Polymorph or the coin if he wants to go coin Voodoo Doll ping. I love this play, just making Amnesiac waste a card here, because sometimes the even Warlock hands can be really awkward.
And this is kind of a weird thing to look at, where Amnesiac just plays a minion to Doomsayer, but it's hand size. He wants to keep rolling those 1 mana life taps over and over and over again and find the key cards in the matchup. Being at 15 life, not really a threat of dying to Flo in that situation. The damage is mostly minion-centric damage from Flo. It's either spells that are killing minions or minions that have to deal with damage. Not a very aggressive deck. So getting to 15 and getting Hook Reavers online helps him start to compound that issue of big threats over and over. He wants to keep Flo on that back foot and make sure that once Jaina comes down, he doesn't necessarily have the backup afterwards, and it's a much bigger struggle than it would normally be.
Yeah, and I like this coming out from Amnesiac. He recognizes that, obviously they have Polymorph, they've got Voodoo Doll, they can easily clear this giant no matter what, but if he puts the taunt in the way, Dragon's Fury no longer is an option to, go ahead and take that trade and get rid of the giant. So Amnesiac just trying to hope that there's no spot removal, but as we can see, Voodoo Doll is going to take quick work.
There's a whole lot of spot removal.
Yeah, that's the whole deck.
And that's one of the reasons why I think that Amnesiac struggles so much in it. Again, Blood Reaver Gul'dan, not that strong. And just piece by piece, turn after turn. You play a big thing, Flo kills a big thing. Amnesiac plays a big thing, Flo kills a big thing.
Eventually you go coin Jaina, start water elementaling big things.
Yeah.
That's a new term I just patented.
Just made it up.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that before.
Just Ellieing things.
Yeah. Wellies.
Wellies. Wellying.
Wellies, am I right?
Sounds like you're welding, but actually, no, you're just freezing things and healing.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Cold fusion welding. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With medical benefits.
Put stuff in play. Taking notes down there. That's what's taking his turn. Just using his time wisely.
Might as well. You got the full turn for a reason. No reason not to take those notes.
Now, our time, on the other hand, press the intern button. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But, it's smart to take your sequence, soak in the situation. Make sure you got a good frame of mind. That's something that Amnesiac's focused on a lot lately, with mindset and just overall approach to the game. He values a lot of just being in a good state of mind as being good practice, because it's not amount of practice to him. A lot of it is the quality of practice. He will practice a lot less in terms of just overall hours, but he feels that his practice is better thought out and more dedicated to a certain process than other players.
Yeah, a lot of times you get that sense that quality is better over quantity. Now, you can play a lot of Hearthstone games, but if those games aren't quality, are you really getting the significant data that you need, or are you really getting yourself into that right mindset? And another important thing is, since it is Hearthstone, you need to make sure that you're always in a good frame of mind, because we know some wacky things can happen, but the best players make sure that those wacky things don't get to them.
And wacky is like wacky. Like
I think we mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
You don't say cool whip, you say cool whip.
well,
Like cool wacky.
cool,
Like
cool.
coin lackey.
You're just going way deep now.
I'm getting pretty
Off
wacky.
the deep end. And that's exactly what he means by wacky stuff. And Amnesiac is just, this is the same linear curve game. You know, against a lot of decks, this is pressure. They're trying to play their own minions, assemble some sort of board position and try to punish you for it, and just turn after turn. You're drawing more cards than them. You're going toe-to-toe with them on minion presence. And you got the big bad Mamma Jamma Blood Reaver Gul'dan at the end. That just plays directly into Flo's game plan.
Yes.
Blow up stuff in a row and don't take damage while it's happening.
Something about just playing a game plan where your opponent plays a thing, and you get rid of a thing, and they have no longer any things, but you've got things.
It's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling. Shout outs to all you Control Warrior players out there.
Second polymorph drawn is actually pretty important, not just because of the spot removal, but because now this Dragon's Fury, that outright kills the Gen. I don't know if he uses that this turn.
Yeah, I think you might try and save on it, but you're exactly right. Now the Dragon's Fury will never whiff. It'll always be guaranteed to deal either 5, 6, or 7, because the spells left are the Flame Strike, the other Dragon's Fury, and then the Blizzards.
Yep, taking a look at specifically the spells in the deck. 2 copies of Polymorph, 2 copies of Dragon's Fury, 2 copies of Blizzard, 2 copies of Meteor, 2 copies of Flame Strike.
So you're telling me this deck runs AoE?
A lot.
That's what I got out of this conversation. This deck has a lot of board clears.
Also a copy of Skulking Geist in the deck. I imagine it's partially targeted at like some Interfire shenanigans.
Not only that, but
Warlock.
a lot of times if you feel Taunt Druid is going to be widely brought, you can force the Hadronox to be polymorphed if you have the Skulking Geist.
Yeah.
That's another, just references that matchup as well.
Pretty much anything that combos with a 1-cost spell. Because that's how
though,
Skulking Geist works.
Does make Jaina this turn a little awkward. Don't really want to leave the Lich King up.
I can never tell if it's Obliterate or Death Grip by the art.
As Death Grip.
And when you talk about the art, like Zilay said,
it's not the greatest of cards, but Flo is not going to let Lich King stop him. And I love this. Because no reason to address the Lich King. The Lich King is not killing Flo this turn. Might as well, save that polymorph for next turn. That way he can create another water elemental.
Right, his life totals remain high.
Exactly.
This is the payoff you get by not taking that damage. Against some matchups, if you take too much damage, you do not have the liberty to coin a Jaina on turn 8 and then follow up with your big removal spell. You have to keep chaining together removal. And that's where that disaster can hit. Your opponent still has a lot left in the tank. They just keep going. That's the situation that Flo desperately wants to avoid. And all this time he spent just blowing up stuff turn after turn. Big payoff here with this Jaina. This is a lot of trouble for Amnesiac now. Doesn't look like it just yet because there's just not a lot of stuff. But turn after turn, nothing's going to get done.
Eventually, Amnesiac's just going to go ahead and run out of cards and then just be left with just, Spellstones, Defiles, some very small minions like Beetle that don't do anything to a water elemental.
Yeah, and he's tapping here just to get the Hooked Reavers online. So Amnesiac, he's going all in on the pressure forefront.
He has to at this point.
It looks really strange to just tap with 10 cards in hand, but he's investing 8 mana into Hooked Reavers, which means he can't play another card if he wants to do it. He had to take a risk of just burning a card to get these Hooked Reavers online. And Baron Ged and Jaina, it's about as close to Reno Jackson, I guess, as you get. It's got all of his elementals, got lifesteal now. Everything hits for 2. Sucking it back up.
And he doesn't even need to do this. He doesn't even need to do this that turn. He could just go ahead and go Voodoo Doll Ping Polymorph. Get rid of all of the pressure and freeze the last minion. All the minions are gone. And that was Amnesiac's probably best wave of pressure that he can actually generate.
And it's really smart to go for it right now because, you know, yoitsflo just doesn't have enough mana to do everything all at once.
Exactly.
And so if he can manage to force a polymorph and have it not generate a water elemental, maybe that's something that helps him later on. But this situation is looking quite grim if you're the young savage.
I think he definitely commits the polymorph here. I was thinking about maybe he can take the 7 damage. I don't think he can afford to. Might as well, you know, play it as safe as possible. You can definitely create some more water elementals in the future.
What's the burst damage from Amnesiac? I mean,
I think it's just the Argent Commander.
This deck, yeah. I mean, he's included a copy of Argent Commander. You know, there's 2 Lich King cards hanging out. But, I mean, Dread Infernal is not exactly my idea of burst.
Man, that's a little burst.
Little one-ya.
Have you ever died to a Dread Infernal?
The 6/6, yeah.
No, I mean the Dread Infernal battle.
2 Hellfires. I mean, I think you can definitely afford to take 7 damage there. Now, should you afford to take 7 damage there? It's another story.
Better question. I mean, he does have the second polymorph, so in Flo's mind, there's no reason to swing with the water elemental because he's most likely going to polymorph the other hooked Reaver and then use the water elementals to, you know, just trade into larger minions and keep them alive, and then he's guaranteed a ping on the follow-up, and he doesn't want to swing in and just waste a water elemental.
It's why the water elementals are such a problem is honestly the freezing effect. Against bigger minions, if you're managing to make 2, that chain continues to go turn after turn, where they weaken a minion, does deal damage, they heal up some life, eventually they get to 1 health and ping it again. It's so difficult to keep Flo from making a water elemental for Amnesiac. This is pretty much the way to do it. And that's about it. So he does have the 2-threat dynamic going, so he's churning out some damage. You know, when does Flo start to worry about that?
I mean, we did see in a series in the Swiss rounds, Amnesiac versus Muzzy. You know, the yoitsflo was bringing a mirror lineup to what Muzzy was bringing. And Amnesiac, at the end of the day, just kept pushing damage forward and eventually got to his Gul'dan, where his hero power ended the game because he'd never let Muzzy stick a water elemental to keep gaining that healing back. The hero power just kept getting him there. Fortunately for Amnesiac, he doesn't currently have access to that Gul'dan. He's going to be looking to try and get that as quickly as possible. But answering these water elementals, he doesn't really quite have the tools in his hand currently to deal with that.
The big one is that Flo's, he's down a Meteor right now. He's down a Dragon's Fury. He's used 2 Voodoo Dolls and a Polymorph. He's starting to run out of removal. You know, now he's drawing back-to-back big chain threats, and they're just not lining up super well. Still got plenty in the tank here, but you know, if he doesn't start drawing some of the good stuff, maybe this gets out of control.
It might, but I don't quite see it. I don't quite see it getting to that point, especially with the Artificers committed here. Amnesiac doesn't really have too many great minions in his hand. Can just go ahead and play Dread Infernal Shroom, and it's kind of a weak turn. Does pick up Hellfire. But Hellfire doesn't address the water elemental on the board, and it clears off his own Dread Infernal.
2 Obliterates in hand, though, right?
No, 2 Death Grips.
2 Death Grips?
Amnesiac is gripping death right now.
Those are not good, then. I still can't really tell by the art.
It looks like Darth Vader's hand.
That's exactly what Obliterate looks like to me. Just like
Obliterate looks like Darth Vader's hand to you?
It's just like a void of like blue color.
Admirable, you are my father. Or grandfather. I'm not sure which one. I thought TJ was my father.
This is not Maury Povich. This is neither the time nor the place.
We'll talk about that after the cast. Talk about our family after the pass. Yeah, I mean, like you said, if he could amount more pressure, there's not much pressure to, and that's kind of funny. Arcane Keysmith, there are no Warlock secrets.
Yeah, so I think it's when there's no Warlock secret. Doesn't it say discover a mage secret?
It will discover a mage secret, yes.
Well, doesn't it say discover a mage secret? I don't know.
No, it says discover. Oh, it might actually say discover a mage secret. I've actually never thought about that interaction. Syndra Ghosts off the top.
Big draw for Flo. It makes the 2/0/1s that give you extra legendaries in hand. Cost 8 mana. This lines up perfectly as a turn 10 play.
Especially with the hero power making another water elemental.
Not under heat, and it's just, well, okay, that one kind of sucks, but
I don't know.
no, Temporis sucks.
Okay, well, have you ever seen a Temporis hit the board and then you just die on the following turn?
Yes.
That happens pretty often, yeah.
Have you ever done this terrible thing and then died because of it? It's like,
No,
yeah.
no, I meant you kill them because of it.
No.
You've never done that. You've never played a Temporis and Inner Fire Priest.
They get 2 turns. Free. You just give it to them.
Who cares?
Me. I care.
If I know I'm killing him and I know I'm not dead, I don't care about giving him 2 turns. Give him 3 turns for all I care.
So many possibilities.
I just don't even know what to say anymore.
That was wacky.
I've tried so hard to make that card work, and I just die.
It is very awkward to make work, especially in a lot of matchups. I mean, this one, Amnesiac could just play big threat, push the damage face. You're exactly right.
Yeah. Just play turn force.
But it could be useful.
Okay, cool down and tap attack. You double Hellfire. Ooh, these are not. It's not really the secrets it's looking for. Mana Bind, maybe a little bit of trickery, but this is a spell-less hand for Flo right now, and he has got heat. This is a large amount of stuff, but it's a random secret right now.
Flo has to be very worried about, you know.
Now he knows it's not a secret that activates between attacks, so Counterspell, Mana Bind, Spellbender,
Mirror Entity.
Mirror Entities in there, Explosive Runes. I imagine
Professor Butricide.
I imagine that Flo's going to take this a little bit slower. Yep, safe play, and
Might as well.
rightfully so.
And now he knows it has to be either Counterspell or Mana Bind. I wonder if he just goes face here. Is there any reason to even trade? I like this. No reason to trade.
Yeah, he's at like 50.
Flo's at a lot of health.
Yeah,
Amnesiac is at 6.
And he's out of stuff. And it's a big board.
Can't even double Hellfire to clear the board.
And that doesn't do anything.
I think this is just, well, he could go trade Beetle double Hellfire. That does keep him alive. But that feels so bad. And that dies to Baron Geddon. There's a lot of things going wrong here.
And looks like the direction he's going.
Well, he did it in the wrong order because now he's going to die. But I think he accepted that he was going to lose anyways. I think he just did that for fun.
I think so too.
That was kind of fun.
Amnesiac falls in the first game. Flo dismantles the assault from Amnesiac. And he's going to stay on his big spell mage as Amnesiac tries to answer back. Pretty ideal matchup, I'd say, given the lineups.
Yeah, I think